In Confessions of a Winning Poker Player, Jack King said, "Few players recall big pots they have won, strange as it seems, but every player can remember with remarkable accuracy the outstanding tough beats of his career. It seems true to me, because walking in here, I can hardly remember how I built my bankroll, but I can't stop thinking of how I lost it." I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and this is Filmgazm. All right, we're back with our anniversary run of amazing films here. We're doing Rounders, 1998. Turns 25 this year. Crazy. I love this movie to death. It's one of the rewatchables of my life. A 5-star movie through and through that has its flaws, and I just don't care. I'm totally obsessed. So let's jump right in. I want to ask you about your journey with this movie. Did you watch this because of me?
The first time I ever watched this, it was 100% because of you. I had never heard of this. And I think it was on Netflix or something, and you just randomly brought it up, and I'm like, "What's Rounders?" And you're like, "Dude,
Yeah.
Rounders." And I watched it, and I immediately understood your love for it. Like, you put Matt Damon, Edward Norton at a poker table, magic's gonna fucking happen. And
Yeah.
this was only my second time with Rounders. I had since bought it on Blu-ray, so I've had easy access to it, and it was just a fun movie about that big win, the big score, the the giant pot of money in the sky that every gambler knows they can get. It's gambling movies are so fascinating because it's like it's an addiction movie that you can have fun with.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, they're especially Rounders, and I think a lot of the great poker or gambling movies are they're basically sports movies, and they're built kind of like a Rocky style like prototype. Like this guy, especially with Rounders at the very beginning, here's this guy going against like a giant of the game locally in New York. He loses to him in like crazy fashion, like, oh man, like as if Teddy KGB fucking like uppercut him, and he's like, oh damn, like I didn't see that coming. And then he, steps away from the game for a little bit. Then like this weird wacko guy brings him back into the ring, and he like builds his way back up, and then on his own merit, he kind of does it all on his own at the end and goes back to go not just to win the money and prove to this guy that he owes the money to. He wants to beat Teddy KGB straight up, mano a mano. He wants to beat this guy, and he, of course, it's predictable as hell, but who cares? I think the rewarding thing about it, the rewatchability of it, is the one of my favorite things about a sports movie or whether it's baseball, basketball, poker, is when they don't hold your hand, meaning the dialogue at the table, it's not spelling it out for you. If you don't know what's going on, you don't really know what's going on. It rewards someone who does know how to play poker, but it also makes it super interesting to someone who has no idea what happens at a poker table. When you're, the game is, Texas Hold'em, no limit Hold'em, and you're watching these guys with these weird, crazy hands, and you're like, what does that mean? What does this mean on the flop? And it either can be really rewarding, or it can be like, oh, that just intrigued me. It's kind of a win-win. And I think also the time the movie came out is a win-win because poker was exploding. There's the World Series of Poker on ESPN that was just starting to gain steam, and then by the like early to mid 2000s, they really figured out how to market this poker, like to make people want to watch it on fucking TV. And I think the biggest decision they made was, I think in 2001 or 2002, they started showing. So if there's 5 players at the table, they started showing on the TV who had what. So if the game is Hold'em, that you would see, Chan has these 2 cards. He has a jack and an ace or whatever. So you would also be able to kind of play with them. And then it became super immersive. It was like, oh, let's, hanging out with the boys. let's play our own game of poker, but also watch the World Series of Poker on TV. And it's still going, you know? It's amazing. It's amazing that this game, this, you know, silly game with cards where you have flushes and straights and all these different things, you know, four of a kind and, you know, jacks over nines, you know, stuff like that. It's like wicked popular. And I think Rounders came out at the perfect time where it didn't make a ton of money when it came out, but it certainly helped the sport and inspired people to play, to want to play because it looks fucking cool in the movie.
Yeah, it does. It does. I've always wanted to be good at this game, and I'm not at all. But I love the intimacy of it. Like you're not playing a game, you're playing the man. Like you're reading people. You're more of a it's more of a behavior game than it is about cards. And I love these films that really amp that up. Like one of my favorite lines from Casino Royale, for instance, is when Bond's talking about the game and he says, "You never play your hand, you play the man across from you." Like it's all about figuring out people and how they can lie without saying a word to you. That's the most fascinating aspect of this game for me. It's like I want to learn how to read people so I can be a good card player.
Yeah. So that's a great way to go into to my first question of two. I have two questions. One of them after this is going to be quite difficult and very fun. But this first one is, are you a gamer? I mean, I know you like certain, you know, maybe board games, but are you a card player? Have you ever tried to like play poker with the boys? Like, is there, you know, from what I hear, there's like somewhat of a draw that you want to be good at it. Has there been a chance for you to do that?
Um, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I'm in Vegas and I see the tables, I'm intimidated because I don't want to be the guy who's like, what's a big blind? What does that mean? I don't want to gum up the works and piss
Yeah.
off everyone's game because I know that's going to happen. So I definitely have to put some work into it. There's definitely like it's a life skill I'd like to have, but I it's not at the top of my priority list. And honestly, my game more is blackjack.
Yeah, blackjack's great. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, uh, around Halloween, my uncle would host a blackjack game with me and my cousins, and we'd bet our candy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love that.
That was the bomb. Like, and there were no give backs. Like if you lost your candy, you lost your fucking candy. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were like 10, 11. Like, so that was a big deal.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a fond memory. He had this big cauldron full of like lollipops and shit, and he'd give us all like, you know, our chips, and we'd ante up, and that's how I learned how to play blackjack.
Yeah, you know, blackjack's a great game. Also a big time where you want to read things that are going on and know what the numbers add up to, know what these different things mean. And the coolest thing about blackjack is I just went to Vegas in July, and while I I love playing, I absolutely love playing, and I will sit at a table. I don't mind that feeling of being around people that are just way better than me. The problem for me is the money.
That
is
too.
is
That too.
is the funds to actually be able to play for a long time rather than just kind of play for like an hour. But Brianna, my wife's cousin, Brianna, his name is Xavier. He is a big time gamer, and I would just hang out with him and kind of like walk around and almost be like, and I'm cool with this. I don't mind. He's same age as me, or I think he's a year older than you and I. He's in the Air Force, and so like whenever he gets a chance to like go on leave or whatever, he'll go to a state that you can fucking play in. So of course, when he found out that there was a family reunion in Vegas, he was like, "Well, I got to be there," you know. I believe he's stationed in New Mexico right now, so you know, easy trip for him, right? Just up a little bit to Nevada, and he loves doing that. And for me, it was more like I'll walk around with him, and he's like, "Look, man, like I'll buy you drinks. You hang out with me, just keep me company." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do that. I don't care. I love watching. I love watching as much as I do playing because watching people spend a ton of money in a short amount of time is fucking fascinating over a deck of cards. Like if you really think about it, you know, we're just children. You know, we're just children playing this game that we think is like built for adults. It's really at heart, we're going back to being kids. You know, we're like it's all about chance and just having fun and trying to do something. You throw money into it, it makes it fun for adults. So yeah, it's great. Yeah, I really miss. I had a stretch of my life early 20s where I was able to play poker. Like we played Texas Hold'em. Me and some of my friends, like 4 or 5 of us, would get together and play maybe every 2 weeks or so. We wouldn't bet crazy amounts. It'd be like whatever, $40, $50 buy-in, and you just kind of like almost play for fun. At times we would also, use different things, whether it be candy or like, oh, I'll buy you food or this or that, just to keep playing. The thrill of playing. Like, oh, if you beat me in this hand, like I'll buy you Whataburger, some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? But we'd always start out playing straight up, like with money. Everybody bring their own beer, just kind of like hang out. We'd have, the fucking football game on in the background, just like classic, like dude thing. And I miss that a lot. I really do. It's like almost impossible for that group because we all kind of went separate ways and some of us moved. But I like holding on to that, like remembering those things, because it definitely was a lot of fun and something that was very formative for me, because you can learn so much when you're around other people who are on the same level as you, because you're all trying to learn and trying to get better, and some get better faster than others. And so you're like, oh fuck, like fucking Matt's getting good. I gotta catch up. I gotta like figure out how to play him. So that was the fun part of it. But you can learn a shit ton when you go to Vegas or wherever and watch like real players play all night. That's what they do. They go there, 4 or 5 times out of the year just to play games. So it's always been fascinating to me. Like cards, money, gambling, alcohol, all those things like together is just awesome.
Yeah, I've always wanted to have like the friend trip to Vegas. I've never had like a group of friends. I moved to Texas fresh, like sophomore year of high school, and I didn't keep in contact with anybody from Maryland. So I never had like, the group, like the friend I grew up with or any of that. Like that's never been my thing. And all of my friends, like, they don't really know each other. Like, basically like, the podcast team is my circle, and y'all are on different parts of the country, and most of you have never met each other. Probably never.
Never met in person, right? Yeah, that'd be really cool if we could even, it doesn't have to be Vegas. We could do, an LA trip or New York or something, like that.
I want to do that so bad.
Yeah, just to hang out. Obviously, Vegas would be cool just because there is that aspect of, you get to gamble. Even to me, I just like the thrill of, even if I put $1 in the slots, you just never know. I just love the thrill. The thrill is really like why I like it.
Last time I was in Vegas, I learned very quickly that I am a penny slot guy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Love winning big. Do not like to bet big. No, I can't afford that. So, but I won like $80 on a Wheel of Fortune slot once, and that was my big moment. That was my Vegas.
That's
moment.
That's great. That was your owning Mahoney moment. Yeah.
Yeah. I had like, there was this one time when I graduated high school, we had this program called Project Graduation, where if you signed up for it and you did a certain amount of like community service stuff, you got to go on this bus. And after graduation, they took you to this arcade that you stayed at all night. Like you left like at 8 a.m. the next day. It was to make sure none of us went out and drank and partied and made bad decisions. I almost didn't do it, but a couple of my friends were like, "Come on, do it! Sell some hot dogs at the football game and do this thing." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, fine." The girl I liked was going, so I was like, "Fine, all right." And we went there, and everybody got a stack of chips, and there was a poker game, and I sat down at the poker game, and I lost everything in about 5 minutes. Again, we were there for 12 hours.
Yeah, you're like, well, shit.
So that was the end of poker. So yeah, I got to figure out how to do that right.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we should try to plan something. Maybe around like the December, like Christmas time or something. Maybe we could get some boys together and play a little poker, just kind of like just for fun.
I would love a poker night. A poker night with like chips and. Yeah, that'd be I'd love to do that.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I'm definitely the guy in my, like my buddies, Kelly, Grant, my brother, Jeremy, my buddy, Joe, all those guys, they like to play, but I'm always the guy, like, if we're all like hanging out, we're like drinking. I'm like, poker? And they're like, no, Austin, Jesus. but we have occasionally sat down like that group, and we've like sat down, hopefully you can find like a good patio so everybody can be smoking cigars and fucking drinking fucking old fashions, and just busting each other's balls and playing games. And that's what it's about, man. That's what it's like ultimately about, is building memories. So I'd love to do that. Maybe we should try to plan on doing something like that soon. Around the Christmas time. That'd be really cool, really special. It's kind of cold outside. Everybody's got their jackets on. I love that. Maybe have a fire around. I don't know. I can picture it in my head right now. Hopefully we can make that happen. But poker is awesome, and Rounders is one of the best poker movies, 100%. Or gambling, whatever you want to. The Sting and Hard Eight and Casino Royale, I would throw in there for sure because it's got some of the best card playing scenes of all time. Cincinnati Kid, Maverick, The Gambler, James Caan. I love all these movies. Just fucking rule. They're just so much fun. It's such a thrilling like subgenre. My next question. This can be pretty difficult, and I kind of want to see if you can like do it off the cuff. So let's say Rounders was coming out today. Scratch 1998 Rounders. Act like it never happened. But I do want to use the template of Damon and Norton as the two main characters. We got Mike McDermott. We got Worm. Fucking Lester, the sleaziest bastard ever. Matt Damon, when this movie came out, was 28 years old. Edward Norton was 29. Can you think of two guys around that age, maybe 25 to 35, that you would cast as the two main characters today if Rounders came out?
Yes. Okay. Michael B. Jordan as Mike.
Ooh.
Robert Pattinson as Worm.
Oh my God, I love it already. Michael B. Jordan, what would you guess is his age?
Probably like 31, 32.
36.
All right.
So I'll take that. I'll take 36. He looks like he could be, 28 to 30. Robert Pattinson, I want to say, is around the same age, maybe a little younger. Robert Pattinson as Worm is perfect. Pattinson is 37. He's older than Michael B. Yeah. Wow.
Well, they fooled me. I was guessing early 30s, late 20s on both of those guys.
Yeah, I like both of those calls. I think that's great. I think Michael B is kind of the better player, like the straight up player who wants to go to Vegas for the World Series. And Pattinson is the guy who just got out of jail. Coming out, with the ace up my sleeve tattoo. I could see Pattinson playing that like perfectly. That was fast. Those are great answers. I thought about a lot of people, but you do kind of have to have, because at the time, Matt Damon just came off of Good Will Hunting. One of the all-time coming out parties for him and Affleck, winning that Oscar. The movie did really well, and it's still really good. 1997, and Norton had just done Primal Fear in 1996. Was up for an Oscar, performance Oscar, and was amazing in that movie. Is just about to also do American History X and Fight Club. These guys were and Damon. Listen to this, Damon. There's not a lot of 97, 98, 99. Good Will Hunting, Rounders, Talented Mr. Ripley. I mean, these guys were like at the top of their game in the late 90s.
Well, and let's also not forget Saving Private Ryan is
Saving Private Ryan too. Also 98. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good God. Yeah. And Damon, I mean, was on top of the world as far as like, look out for this dude. I would say probably those two, because Brad Pitt's a little bit older, like guys who are under 30 in the late 90s. Like these are the two guys you're kind of looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have up and comer written all over them. You can almost fucking taste it in this movie. And just knowing their career trajectory, I wonder if I'd seen this in 1998, I would be able to tell like, oh, these guys are going to be huge.
Yeah. I guarantee it. I feel like, if you and I are in college, we're going to fucking Syracuse, some university in New York.
Syracuse.
And Syracuse. This was the first New York university that came to my head because I love their basketball team.
Okay.
Say we're going there. Me and you, we're 20, 21 years old. We go see this movie. I mean, it would change our life. First off, we'd be like, okay, where can we buy a cheap poker table? Second, I'm watching every motherfucking Matt Damon movie that ever comes out from here on out. And same with Edward Norton. And who the fuck is John Malkovich? and John Turturro. Like I like these guys are amazing.
We would immediately go straight to Blockbuster. We would be renting Good Will Hunting, Courage Under Fire, and Primal Fear.
Yeah, straight up. And our ass would be in the theater for American History X, Saving Private Ryan, Fight Club, Talented Mr. Ripley. And then when Bourne comes out a few years later, we're like, yeah, here we go. Come on. I mean,
That's awesome.
shit. So yeah, I love the Michael B and Robert Pattinson. Trying to think of some guys who were a little younger. You know who I really, really like, who I think could play a really good worm, who I think is on the cusp of becoming absolutely massive, is Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
That is a good pick.
He's going to be in the Iron Claw here next month, with Zac Efron and Harrison Dickinson. I feel like he's like really close to becoming like absolutely massive. He's really popular because The Bear is really popular, and he was also a great character in Shameless, Lip. But I think The Bear has become this kind of almost, I don't know. I feel like I don't know anyone who hasn't seen it, especially around our age. Everybody like loves The Bear. It's caused people to be like, maybe I should. It's silly, but I've heard it. Not really for me, but I feel like people be like, maybe I should support local businesses. Like food places. And if that's what it does for you, cool. I mean, you probably should have already thought that way, but it's fine. But now people are looking for like sandwich shops and burger places that are similar to The Bear. What's in my city that I can go eat at? I love that. Yeah, I just think Jeremy Allen White. He's probably around 30, I would guess, and I feel like he could play. I don't know if he could play Michael. You think he'd play either of them, or is Worm more up his alley?
Worm is definitely more up his alley. He's got this kind of like chip on his shoulder, been through the ringer kind of thing that I think he could really
smoking nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 32, by the way.
32. Okay. How old is Glenn Powell?
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a match made in heaven. Glenn Powell's gotta be around there too, right? 35. He just turned 35.
God, I guess 30 is the new fucking 20, and I just missed it.
Yeah, maybe that's a whole nother conversation that we don't really, is how many guys become, I guess, if Robert Pattinson's 37, and what year did Good Time come out? 2017.
Yeah.
6 years ago. I guess that would be kind of like the movie where like cinephiles were like, okay, this guy's like here, and he's very, very good.
I got a wild card for you. Alex Wolff.
Oh, I love that. For honestly, either. I feel like he's a chameleon. He could play either.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got to be 20s, right?
You would think.
But turns out he's like 48.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know, man. It's weird, like looking at these people's ages. But I do think your initial two answers, Michael B. and Robert Pattinson, both have a ton of star power and both look like they could either be 40 or 25. That's kind of the sweet spot, because Matt Damon is in the movie. Mike McD is supposed to be like a student. He's supposed to be like a law student. We don't really know exactly like how old he is, but in real life, he was 28 years old when the movie came out, which is so weird to think about. We're so used to him now as this 50-something-year-old like dad type figure. But there was a time, man, where Matt Damon was the fucking bee's knees.
Yeah, it's funny, revisiting these things. Like I recently watched Courage Under Fire for the first time, and that was kind of considered his like breakout performance.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's, holding his own with Denzel Washington, and just like you believe the guy. Like he's always had talent. And I love that he's never, I can't remember like a year where he didn't have something. Like he's always been there. He's been a mainstay in Hollywood for 30 years. Yeah,
he is prolific, absolutely prolific. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. I love him, man. He's in so many movies that I like, and has worked with so many cool directors. I love going back to something like Courage Under Fire, or School Ties, where you can see it. You can just see. And no, I think he's actually exceeded expectations because of like he has his hand in so many cool things. For instance, Air. I think like what him and Affleck did with Air is like, this movie there has no business being this good.
Yeah.
But it's because those guys know how to fucking make a movie.
Yeah, those two guys. Affleck has his ups and downs. He's made mistakes, but he's also made some incredible movies.
Yeah.
I just, I think Affleck's at his best when he's in his comfort zone. When he's
Mm.
doing, behind the camera doing biopics and gangster movies or working with Matt Damon. But when he like tries to be Batman, like you don't need to do this anymore. Like it almost seems like
Yeah.
Batman's beneath him. And I wish he'd made that. I wish he'd realized that because being Batman fucked him in a way we'll never understand.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still recovering, like
Yeah.
as far as his image as just for movie fans, and obviously still recovering, I think, just personally. So yeah, 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 it is tough because yeah, Affleck has been a part of so many unique things. I guess he wanted to get that paycheck, and I don't know, man.
I think it's amazing how many times he's basically like ended his career only to bounce back super quickly. Like, Pearl Harbor and Geely back to back. We never should have heard from this guy again. But, you know, I don't know what happened. What paycheck comes to mind? Like 2000.
Yeah,
Trying to think of like something big that Affleck did in like '04 to like right before Gone Baby Gone.
I I don't think there's anything. Yeah, because yeah, Gone Baby Gone, Argo, Gone Girl. That was when it was like, oh, okay, this guy's doing what we always thought he would do.
I'm gonna find something. There was Daredevil, but that didn't exactly.
Yeah, no. What do you think? What do you think of real quick? What do you think of 27-year-old Tom Holland giving a go at poker?
I don't. I still. He still looks like a 13-year-old boy. I don't buy.
Yeah, looks too young. Yeah, looks too young.
I know he's not, and I feel bad for him. I love him as Spider-Man, but as like a hardened card player, I don't see it.
Yeah, yeah, and imagine him going against a John Malkovich esque performer as Teddy KGB. He's getting played off the table.
He's gonna. Malkovich just has to like stare him down, and he will back away slowly and apologize.
Yeah, I like Jarrell Jerome. I've always loved him. He's 25. I think he could be a fun poker player.
Yeah, I could see him. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to like. I don't. These new guys, their names don't stay with me. I'm still very attached to like the '90s people.
Yeah, I've tried to stay away from this one, but like one of the obvious answers is 27-year-old Timothy Chalamet, just because he's so massive. But I would lean more in the camp of 26-year-old Lucas Hedges as Worm.
Oh hell yeah, good pick. Yeah, Lucas Hedges would kill that role.
I love that guy.
What's he got going on lately? I feel like he's
I
all over the place,
don't
and then I don't know what
don't
happened.
know. I think he's done some stage stuff.
Mm.
He's leaned into that, which it's fine. Do what you got to do. That's what you love.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really hard for people under 30 to become proper movie stars these days. The same way like Tom Cruise broke out in the 80s. It's just or these guys that we're talking about in the 90s. I feel like there was a whole class of people in the 90s. It just hasn't really. I feel like it's a lot harder, or they do more TV, or their choices are different. I feel like it takes a little longer.
Well, in this day and age, film and television is so intertwined. Like back in the 80s and 90s, TV's where you went when your career was either dead or just starting out. And
yeah,
now that's not really people. Fucking Meryl Streep did a TV show, so it's
yeah. Everyone. I mean, tons of Oscar like winning performers are like, I want a piece of that shit.
Yeah. I want to win an Emmy. There's a spot on my mantle for it. It's yeah. So I think that the landscape and like I think a lot of films are very manufactured these days. A lot of movie stars are manufactured. They go find some hot looking dude and they try to turn him into the next Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't think there's a lot of honesty left in art anymore.
Yeah.
You do find it. You got your indie directors still doing their thing, but overall, it's just predictable.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. You know me. I love my movie stars, but yeah, I feel like they're few and far between these days, or they take a lot longer. Like to me, a dream team. If we're going for like a slightly above that age, if we're going like into the 30s. To me, the dream team would be to reunite. Get Out co-stars and Judas the Black Messiah co-stars Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield.
That's a good call. I would watch the hell out of that. That's a great. Oh, nice.
Who would you? Who's who?
Lakeith is Mike. Kaluuya is Worm.
So Kaluuya is 34, if I remember correctly, and Lakeith I know is 32. Not that far off. I'd watch the fuck out of that.
I want to see that movie now. Damn, I want them to do a poker movie.
Fuck. Oh man, yeah. So who would you have play like the John Turturro, the Knish, the guy who's kind of like the lifetime rounder, the guy who's like just does it for a living. Someone who's a little older, but not too old. And then like Denzel Washington as Teddy KGB.
First instinct for Knish is John Hamm.
Oh, I like that. That's a good call. John Hamm's got the Turturro comedy, but also can just turn it on. He can turn that shit on and get dramatic.
He's got this like been around the block a few times, but what was never in charge kind of thing.
Oh, man, John Hamm. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Teddy KGB. I still want them to do the terrible Russian accent. So I want like.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking like, how about like Colin Farrell?
Oh, perfect. Colin Farrell he's what, in his 40s right now? That is a perfect call. Colin Farrell across the table from Lakeith Stanfield going toe to toe. And then you got Kaluuya who's just fucking cheating every time he gets to a table.
Dude, now we got to remake Rounders. Like,
yeah,
we cracked it. We got to remake this movie.
I mean, the reason I brought it up is because, and we can get into the movie properly here in a second, but the reason I brought it up is because so many Rounders fans have had the debate of do we want the Mike McD in Vegas and Worm on the Run sequel? Do we want it, or do we want to leave Rounders where it is?
I don't want, like, if it's a sequel, that would just be sad. I don't want to see 50-year-old Matt Damon still trying to make it big as a rounder. I don't want to see that. And Norton would never fucking do it.
Well, let's be honest. Worm is dead. Let's be honest. Like he pissed off the wrong person and they just killed him. Mike McD, I could see, like, it'd be cool if we saw a movie where like the first few years like went pretty well for him. He started doing well and like became a mainstay at the World Series of Poker, and then something horrible happened, and he's gonna come back and just basically repeat Rounders, but have him older.
The only way I see this working is if they do it Color of Money style.
Oh, if like he like finds someone young. Oh, yeah. Dude. Oh my God. He's been
following some young upstart who's really fucking good at reading people. And Mike McDermott is this legend in the poker community who disappeared, and now he shows up again to teach, like, I don't know, maybe this guy's gonna go up against Teddy KGB's kid or something.
Now we're talking about Matt Damon being Paul Newman and Timothée Chalamet being Tom Cruise. I'm in. Directed by Martin Scorsese, of course.
Sure, why not?
Oh man, that's great. I'm glad I asked that question. I almost scratched it. I almost scratched it. But I was like, no, that was my initial question. I was like, well, we got to talk about poker, but in games. Oh, yes, dude. I love it. So initially we went Michael B. and Robert Pattinson. Then we thought about Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, and some in between. But those seem to be the ones that stick. Rounders, 1998, written by David Levian and Brian Koppelman. Koppelman has done a lot of like big time work in TV since then, and has actually been a recurring podcast guest on one of my favorite podcasts, and it's been really cool because he says he kind of always knew Rounders would have the life that it had. He knew it wouldn't make a ton of money, but that people would freak out, become obsessed with it, and become a cold hit, and would make a bunch of money through DVD, Blu-ray sales. And sure enough, he's like, we have made money. So it's pretty cool. Good for him, man. Directed by John Dahl, who's got a really strange filmography, and I'm not like super familiar with it, but I went back and watched The Last Seduction from 1994, which I thought was like way better than I expected. And we both wanted to watch Joyride, but it's available on Tubi, but it's only in Spanish. And I was like, I can't do this. It just the time slipped from you. You were going to watch it. I think it's on Plex. Is that right?
Yeah, Plex is like a slightly more upscale Tubi, but also free.
Yeah. So we try to do a little more work. It's okay. It's this is mostly about Rounders and John Dahl. As far as his name goes, this is 100% the first movie people are going to talk about when they talk about John Dahl. That's just how it is. Rounders has become a huge deal with a lot of people who are obsessed with gambling and poker and really just great movies from the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. I the 90s is my favorite era of hidden gems. Because
Oh, dude, they're everywhere. Every year there's a movie that slipped through the cracks.
yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, it's constant. And it's always it always stars like it's got a great cast, usually a really good writer, director, and you just wonder like what happened? Like, did it go up against a Disney movie and nobody paid it any mind until now? That's usually what happens. And
Yeah.
yeah, I like rediscovering this stuff. It's cool. It's nice because to me, I don't have that blockbuster bias. Like, if it didn't make money, I don't fucking care.
Oh, I definitely don't care. Even sometimes I look for movies that didn't make money.
Yeah,
because chances are it's pretty good. There's also a movie, Nicolas Cage that I haven't seen, Red Rock West. I've always wanted to see that just because it's a Nicky Cage in 1993. That's got to be fascinating. The Great Raid from 2005, Kill Me Again from 1989 with Val Kilmer. He's got a really strange filmography, and I like to see it all. I like to be a completist and see everything, and one day I will. But Rounders is certainly the thing that's going to be, on his plaque, or gravestone or whatever however you want to like look at it. Rounders is it, man.
Yeah, I want to see, like, do you see a certain style in the Dahl movies that you have seen, or like
Yeah, I've only seen two. Yeah, yes and no. They feel like they're almost, The Last Seduction and Rounders almost feel, I don't want to say cheap. The way they're filmed is it's almost like how do I say? If not homemade either, but it feels kind of raw. You know how Rounders doesn't have this. It doesn't look amazing. It looks fine. Looks like a typical, to me, 90s movie, and same with The Last Seduction. But it doesn't distract you from the content and the performances within. I feel like that's what's on display here is dialogue, performance, story. That's what we're really focused on Rounders. We're not like, oh man, did you see that did you see that move? I think John Dahl is good from what I've seen with the two movies. What do people really want to see here? Let's be straightforward about it. Let's not fuck around. Let's just make a movie. I kind of like some directors like that. Of course, I love style, but I also love a straightforward just movie. And Rounders never feels show offy. It always feels to the point. And I feel like a lot of 90s movies are like that, where they're, again, not cheaply made, but they feel like they're to the point.
I love to the point. I do not need like 10 minutes of just like a doorway in shadow because it emphasizes somebody's depression and disbelief in their reality. Like, I just want to see him walk through the door so we can move this along.
Yeah. And I think that's what John Dahl wants to do. I mean, look at the other movies. Like Joyride, I've heard, is just like a crazy genre movie. I mean, Red Rock West looks absurd. I want to see them because they feel they're probably like the same style, just straightforward. Let's just make a movie. And I respect that and like it. So I'm intrigued to watch his other films. But from what I had read, Last Seduction is kind of the second most popular movie of his collection. And man, it was good, man. I was really, really into it. I was shocked. I thought I was just going to kind of be sort of engaged. I ended up being like, oh my God. And like the ending of the movie was so good. I was totally in. So I definitely suggest that one. I don't really know anyone who's seen it, so I can't talk to anybody about it. That's all right. I can talk to myself about it. But Connor, I think you'd enjoy it. Any listeners out there, definitely check out Last Seduction. It's on Peacock right now. So give it a go. We mentioned the money many times already. $20 million on about a $12 to $15 million budget. And that's, it's not breaking the bank or anything, but it's, that's modest. You can't complain with making, around $8 million, right? Like, you go out, you make a film, you're like, hey, we're doing this thing, and then they've made money hand over fist since then. And you can't complain with that.
Looking up the highest grossing movie of 1998.
Oh, let me think.
It was
1998.
it was Titanic rollover from 97.
Oh, fuck that. What's second?
Armageddon.
Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
We're talking domestic. It's Armageddon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Oscar winner, Shakespeare in Love. Just a strange year.
Yeah.
But you look on the outside, you got gems like the Big Lebowski out there just hanging out. So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Rounders was number 79, the 79th most successful film of 1998.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'd love to look at every year in the 90s. What was the 79th film? And chances are you and I both love it.
I can tell you right now. All right, give me a year from the 90s.
1993.
93. Number 79 and 93 domestic box office was Posse.
What's that?
Uh,
This failed.
in 18 In 1898, Cuba, 5 Buffalo soldiers find a gold cache, dessert, and return to America, where they help defend a black town from the KKK, all the while trying to avoid capture by lawmen and military authorities. Fuck, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah. Posse, 1993. Who? This is cool. Mario Van Peebles.
Oh, dude.
Stars in
Legend.
it.
Okay, I know what this is. This has been on Criterion before.
Okay, there you go. So you do know it. Good.
Yeah,
We didn't
okay.
fail. We didn't fail.
All right, Van Peebles. Yeah, that guy fucking kicks ass. Okay, all right. I'm in. Let's fucking mark it as an 8, dude. Let's do 1993. Let's fucking do that one day, man. Let's just as like a random. We did it because of Rounders.
Yeah. And guess
episode.
what? It's on Plex.
It's on Plex right now. How about that? Free for everybody. Everybody go watch Posse. Make this movie fucking famous. Oh,
that was
shit.
fun. That was cool.
Yeah, that's great. Good stuff, man. I want to get into our. I want to really talk about Rounders. This is one of those special movies that I've been waiting to do an episode on forever. So I want to whip through this. 7.3 on IMDb. Pretty good. Pretty solid. 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. That, like, come on. Let's lighten up. 87% audience score. There we go. 3.5 on Letterboxd. We'll get to Letterboxd later on for our segment, What's in the Box. I'm excited for that. Some people just, the way they talk about this movie, I'm like, whatever. It's not, it's not the Seventh Seal. Like, fucking chill out. Like, they're like, oh, the relationship between him and Joe just sucked. I'm not going to Rounders for that. Just
I will never understand people who go into every movie expecting, like, if this isn't Citizen Kane, I'm walking away from it.
Yeah, or hold it to that standard. Yeah, no. But there are a ton of people who love this movie. 4.5 star, 5-star reviews on Letterboxd. People just gushing about, fucking mostly John Malkovich and the Oreos. So we have our categories right. I think the best way to open up, in my opinion, maybe you differ. We've got our 4 categories of, we'll talk about some quotes, we'll do some performance stuff, music and scenes. To me, we just got to get performance. Like, who wins the movie? We got to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's do performance.
It's 3 people.
4 people.
Start with the 4th. Who's the 4th?
Turturro? Yeah.
Okay. Turturro. Yeah. I think Turturro's right up for me, right on the outside looking in, but he is great. Obviously, Malkovich is just lights out. He's in 2 scenes, and they both fucking rule.
This is one of the few performances in movies that I've seen where an actor is fantastic and absolutely fucking terrible at the same time.
Oh, yeah. He's awful. I mean, the accent is absurd, but he's so committed that you have to respect it and you have to fall in love.
I just watch it thinking, like, there's no way in hell this dude's actually a Russian gangster. He's just a gangster who loves to play a Russian, and everyone's too damn scared to tell him to stop.
Yeah. God, he's great. He's horrible and great is the best way to put it. I love that.
Yeah, and Turturro is the unsung hero of the 90s. That dude, when he turned up, fucking hell, the guy just lit up the screen every time. I really wish he'd never met Michael Bay. I don't like that he's involved in the Transformers movies because he's so much better than that. And yeah, just every performance he gave in the 90s up to like, I think like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was probably like the cutoff point. But then he
Yeah.
fucking killed it as Falcone in the Batman last year. So he's still got it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think he's clearly, he works for money. This is his job. But when he turns up, he turns it up, and he is so good. He steals like every scene. I love him in one of my favorite more recent things. I think it was 2016. Is the miniseries The Night of, him and Riz Ahmed. I mean, he also stepped in for Jesus H. Why can't I think of his name? James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini was supposed to play that role. He died. Wasn't able to play it. John Turturro stepped in and basically dedicated every fucking moment of being in that series to him. And he is unbelievable. He's unbelievable in that show. And he's like a floor raiser. Everything he's like, I will bring things. They'll be better. If I'm here, they'll be better. And he does that a lot, man. And yeah, the 90s is the best. You put it the best. He made so many good decisions in the 90s of people like who to work with, what roles to take, when to in movies, when to attack, when to kind of step on the sidelines. And Rounders to me is the best example of that. When he's able to shut up and listen and use his really unique, face and hair and this distinguished look. And then when he's able to kind of come in and give you like two lines that are just brilliant.
Yeah, that creep can roll, man.
Yeah, no fucking kidding, man. And then he can carry a movie like Barton Fink, and you're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, or play just a despicable little piece of shit in Miller's Crossing.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
the work he did with the Coens and with Spike Lee, like, God,
yeah.
So many directors like had him on speed dial, like, hey, I need a compelling one or two scene character for like a week and a half of work, and he's like, I got you.
Is there an actor who represents New York better than John Turturro?
Not in my book.
Yeah, I mean, you named, Do the Right Thing, right? I mean, he represents a neighborhood, like a personality in New York, and he does it, 10 years later, 9 years later in Rounders. He's so New York. I love that guy to death.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, good.
I'd forgotten
shout.
He was in this. Actually, I was like, when he showed up, I'm like, fucking Turturro, and yes. I was watching him more than I was watching anybody else.
I love when that happens, man. That's again what makes a movie so rewatchable. I've seen this so many times, but the other night when I was watching it, even then, there's times where I'm big on this these days because if I'm watching a movie by myself, I don't care how long it takes to get through it. I'll rewind and watch a scene over, or make sure I catch a piece of dialogue correctly, or shit, my attention was on Damon that scene. Let me go back and watch Malkovich or watch Turturro that scene. It's as if I'm watching film for like a sport.
I mean, you kind of are.
Yeah, especially with Rounders. No kidding.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but our main two players, Matt Damon, Edward Norton, Worm, and Mike McD. These two guys, I mean, talk about chemistry. Talk about two young dudes going toe to toe, but also applying teamwork the right way, upstaging each other in the right moments, lifting each other up in the right moments. They're dynamite. Right when he picks him up from prison, you're like, yes, fuck yes, I love this tandem.
Yeah, it's perfect. You feel like they've been friends and enemies for years.
Yeah,
I bought it. I love, it's the reminded me of that, Godfather 3. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Yes.
This is the guy. This is the asshole friend who racked up 25 G's of debt that I have to fucking deal with now. Like, yeah, love it.
Yeah, and how about just for the fuck of it, Martin Landau is just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn up in this scene. I'm gonna give this whole brilliant speech to change Mike's life right now. Give him $10,000. Like crazy.
Yeah. To do that for another, that's a mitzvah.
Yes,
dude.
Yeah, that's such a good scene.
Martin Landau, not enough is he doesn't get nearly enough credit as a long-time, very accomplished, very reliable character actor who always turned in amazing performances. He's never really counted amongst the greats, and I think he should be.
Yeah, unfortunately passed away 6 years ago.
No.
Oscar winner. But like you said, I think what he's best at is these, you know, heat check, bring me in. I mean, that's he won his Oscar for Ed Wood. He comes in, he just fucking crushes it. He just crushes these supporting, supporting characters, and yeah, we need those people desperately. Those people who are able to come off the bench, fucking score all the points. Steal the show, and then kind of be like, all right, see you later. I'm gonna let Norton take over now. It's great.
Well, I've always loved character actors over movie stars. Like I'm here to watch a performance. I don't like, I want to see some depth here. I want to see a character I'm going to remember. And there's so many in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Shout out Landau. We have to. I don't think we ever really brought him up on Oscar Sunday, although he was a 3-time nominee, 1-time winner. Tucker, The Man in His Dream, Crimes and Misdemeanors, and one for Ed Wood. So yeah, just a legend. Rest in peace to that guy. He's dynamite.
Oh yeah, Ed Wood is a fantastic watch, by the way.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
His turn as Bela Lugosi is amazing. I don't even see Landau in that role. Like, he captures Lugosi so fucking well. It's well earned, well deserved Oscar.
Yeah, yeah. He's the man. Anybody else you want to shout out before we pick a person who won the movie?
I'm gonna, not a shout out, but I do want to bring her up.
Gretchen Mol.
I believe
as,
so. Is she
as
the
Joe?
bitchy girlfriend?
Yes.
Then yes. What's her problem?
I don't know. This is the biggest nitpick of the movie. I don't know. I just don't think it works. It just doesn't really work very well. It's not really like her fault, the actress. I think it's a pretty poorly written character. She's put in a tough spot to come up with these emotions like on the spot, which obviously is the actor's job. But I feel like she's just not given the right support. I feel like when Damon's on screen with her, Damon's just like, I'm gonna fucking run through this scene, and you're not stopping me. He's upstaging her the whole time. He's not trying to tee her up. He's not trying to toss the pitch to her. He's just like, I'm gonna throw this at 90 miles an hour.
Well, everyone in the movie and watching the movie just knows no one gives a shit about this story. We want to, the real romance here is between Mike and the game of poker.
Yeah. And the second relationship is him and Worm. So is this weird? Yeah. I kind of think you could drop this entire thing. You can because this movie's almost 2 hours. You could chop off 15 minutes or so. But I don't know. Then the whole lawyer thing. I don't know, man. You kind of need it because Martin Landau's character. But I feel like you could bring him in some other fashion. I don't know, man.
Well, I think just the character needs needs some more likability, I guess. She's written.
Yeah.
Her whole thing is she's one note and she just hates poker because he ruined his life once with poker and he promised he'd never play again. But the second he starts playing again, she doesn't try to get him help or anything. She just goes straight to, you lied to me, and then she just disappears for most of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. She just moves out. And Damon's like, let's fucking play.
Yeah, he doesn't even go after her. He's just like, finally, the ball and chain is gone. I can play now.
Yeah, and they live in this pretty neat little apartment in New York City. I'm like, what the fuck? You just left this guy high and dry, to pay rent. It's probably sort of expensive. It's late 90s, but it's still expensive.
Yeah, it's New York City. New York City has never been cheap, ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's working for Kanish, just driving that truck. He's probably not making a ton of money, so fuck off. You won't let him play the game he loves to make more money. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't think it's her fault. No shade to Gretchen. I don't know if it's Mall or Mole. I don't know. I don't really know her career very well.
I think it's Mall. I remember hearing somebody say the phrase Gretchen Mall at one point.
Gretchen Mall. Yeah. Yeah. Tough stuff. It's just not the best. I don't really care.
Nobody does. Yeah.
The other hour and 42 minutes of the movie are just electric, so I don't really care about that whole thing. But you do have that Damon's so good in the movie, and Mike McDee's such an awesome character. You do have a few moments where the reason he's straying away from this is because of her and because of this lawyer thing. And then I love the scene when he drops Worm off to play with those frat bros, and then he like just stops in the middle of the road and is like, "Fuck," and then turns around. And Worm knew he was going to turn around. Like I do like those moments, and we don't have those moments without the girlfriend. Like you better not play her. Like I'm going to break up with you. So I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a tough one.
We don't need a romance when we've got a perfectly good bromance going on over here.
Oh yeah, we got a great bromance. Yeah, and a little rivalry as well. So like,
Yeah.
Worm is like, fuck, he's better than me at playing straight up. I have to cheat. But this cast is amazing. Ultimately, I think I'd have to go with Damon for my winner. It's tough, man. It's really tough. But the more I watch this movie, the more I'm like, wow, this is to me one of the more unique, fascinating under 30 lead performances that I know of.
Interesting, because I would give it to Norton.
Totally fair. I can't argue with that. He's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Just for the moment we see him, winning cigarettes from the other prisoners the day he's going to be released.
Yeah.
Got nothing to do with the currency. It's just the thrill of the game.
Yeah.
And that's the guy we stay with. He has no character growth. He has no development. He has no scruples. He doesn't give a fuck about anything but the next score. And you don't really understand Mike's devotion to the guy other than like, he didn't rat me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just keep waiting for something for Worm to have a moment of clarity, but he never does. He's the guy. He's the guy you have to invite to the barbecue because you owe him a lot, but you don't.
Yeah. He's like a brother, but he wouldn't be a friend if it weren't for that one thing he did.
And I love seeing, Norton's range in the 90s especially was lights fucking out.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I can't believe he did this the same year as American History X.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was nuts. Like he was just balls to the wall back then. Like he really just didn't give a fuck. He was just trying all kinds of stuff, and I respect him for it, man. He'd go toe to toe with just about anybody. He still does. He did then. He's got a swagger to him that is unmatched. A confidence that it's like he just doesn't give a fuck, which is why he's so good at playing these sleazy characters that are, what he does in Birdman is just incredible. He's able to conjure up this just fucking dickery. He's just always the guy in the room that's like, I'm the man. Fuck everybody else. Like, I got the biggest dick. That's how he always is.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's why he didn't work so well as the Hulk. Because it was a commercial project, which he's always fucking despised. And Bruce Banner is very much not a big dick in the room kind of character, but Edward Norton can't help but have that like self-confidence as a performer seep through his characters and just be there.
Yeah. Straight up, man. Straight up. It was really cool to see him take the director's chair for Motherless Brooklyn a few years ago. I really liked that movie. I'm hoping to see him. Obviously he's got like the really cool relationship with Wes Anderson these days. He always shows up and fucking kills it in his movies, whether it be Budapest or Isle of Dogs or Dispatch. He's awesome, and I want to see more of him kind of stretch the legs, maybe direct some more. That'd be cool.
Yeah, a lot of these 90s guys we're seeing, I don't want to say the twilight of their careers, but definitely like the next phase of their careers when they're older, more experienced, playing a different kind of character or desiring to be behind the camera. And it's really cool to see these guys transition like that into a new kind of filmmaking for them. I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah. Well, you went Norton. I went Damon. Classic. I love it. Let's see. Let's do music. Get that one out of the way here before we get to scene and quotes. What I mean, what do you think of this music? Do you think it works well for the movie? Do you really like pay attention to it? Or are you more just kind of into the story and characters?
I think the music works to establish a certain mood whenever we get to a new set piece.
Yeah,
A lot of saxophone, never go wrong with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Uh,
That's also I actually need to look it up. It's Christopher Young who does the score here, and yeah, it's real jazzy, a lot like The Last Seduction. The Last Seduction is very jazzy, so I'm actually going to look up if he did that one as well. But go ahead.
Christopher Young, I believe he's Danny Elfman's protege. I
I think you're right.
Yeah, because
That's ringing a bell.
he took over the score for Spider-Man 3 from Elfman, and I remember when I read about that, something about him being his protege was in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's a good mix of soundtrack and score. But obviously the music's not it's there's no spotlight on the music here. It's just, so that we don't get bored.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. Again, that probably goes in line with what I was saying earlier about how this movie's not cheaply made, but it's to the point. The score is not distracting you from what really matters to John Dahl in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I do like one of my favorite moments is the Taj Mahal game.
Oh, dude.
When Mike's at the table and the music almost feels like James Brown. Like it's, some new super heavy funk up in here. And I like that a lot. I was like, that's a good establishment right there. It's like everyone's having a good time. Mike's in his zone. He's in the groove. And then Worm shows up.
Yep.
And that's a repeated situation where Mike's like winning. He's doing great. He's establishing relationships. And then Worm shows up.
Like, oh, God.
Fucking, fly in the soup.
That's a good way of putting Worm. Worm is, he just shows up at the wrong time over and over.
Yeah, and everyone just can tell, like, I don't know what it is, but I don't like this guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I love, who is it? I was going to mention when we were doing performance. Who is it that's like, they let people like you in here? What's his name? He's the guy who plays the weird teacher in Billy Madison. God damn it.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name.
P.S. I'm horny. The Valentine's card of Billy Madison. Such a good scene. God, what is his name? John Mustel. He plays the Gauche.
Josh Mostel.
Josh Mustel. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He has this, like, I have not sat up from this poker table in 35 years kind of vibe.
Yeah. I love that shit. Yeah. Come on, we all know everybody here, what Mike McTee's like, welcome to the East Chesterfield. Or whatever it's so cool. I love that bit. It's incredible. and then of course Worm and Kanish have their little back and forth where he's like, oh, have fun like putting a little bit of food on the table and paying rent. I'm trying to win big, baby. It's fucking great. God, this movie rules. Yeah. I think you spoke really well about the music. It doesn't distract you. It doesn't take you away. It just kind of guides you along. Just little. That's sometimes that's what I want a score to do. I do love a good dramatic, just out there score that's almost takes over the movie. But with Rounders, we don't need that. We don't need it. We're focused on the game.
Yeah, every movie that works has every piece working the way it should be to make the best product imaginable.
Yeah, and sometimes the stars align and we don't know it till years later.
Yep. And those are the best movies.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. We love those movies, those late bloomers. And Rounders is a bit of a late bloomer. I think it. Well, we talked about that on Scarface. The 80s, 90s has the video, direct to video, whatever. Go rent it at the at Blockbuster, wherever you go, Hollywood Video. Just pick some stuff out and watch it, depending on who you like, what actors you like, directors you like, what looks interesting, what kind of genre you like. So I love that. Part of me wishes I could have lived through that. Like hanging with the buddies, put the fucking VHS in, hanging out with your college friends or something. Again, playing poker, watching Rounders. That sounds really cool. I try not to take for granted how easy we have it now as movie fans, but it would be neat to almost you have to deal with your choice when you go rent something. This is what you chose. Deal with it.
It is weird, like as an audience member, there's no more consequences for the audience. If you don't like what you picked, fucking
Yep.
turn it off and go to Hulu. Like
Yep.
there's no more.
Nick.
I remember being upset as a kid. Like I rented a movie and I didn't like it, and I just had to deal with that. I had to wait till my mom would take me to Blockbuster the next week to return this and get something else.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I do. There's something about that is challenging. I think it affects your development way differently than how we do things now. And I think the week to week thing, well, that's how I was too as a young kid. It would usually be between my older brothers, Jeremy and Adam, and myself. We would choose maybe like two movies in a video game each week that we could like, we'll get a game on PlayStation 2 or GameCube or whatever, and like pick a couple movies. And so we kind of like have to decide together. And sometimes it would be like, all right, my mom would be like, you guys can't decide. Austin, you pick a movie. Jeremy, pick a movie. Adam, you pick the game. That kind of thing. And so if I picked a movie that they didn't like, they'd be like, you see, you idiot. Like, fucking moron. Like, you picked a movie that sucks. And like, but you dealt with that until you went again the next Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you made a choice again. But you had to kind of live and almost dwell on that particular movie, no matter what happened. There's something really cool about that because you have to kind of live in it.
Well, it was just my mom and I. So she would get a movie and I'd get a movie.
Perfect.
And you mentioned that it like affects your development. I got so many duds that eventually I stopped renting new things. I would only rent movies I liked and watch those on repeat. And that was who I was for a good chunk of my life. Was I didn't really explore stuff I wasn't comfortable with. I would stay with the movies I loved and just watch those on repeat. And that's why like Back to the Future, Roger Rabbit, and fucking Aladdin are like burned into my fucking brain.
Yeah, yeah. I love that too because now, and we were talking about this last night. I believe you had watched Back to the Future. You went and saw in theaters.
Yeah.
And when something's a part of your DNA, and you've done the repetition of watching it over and over and over at all different ages, all walks of stages of life, you don't know you got to keep doing it because you don't know when it's going to remind you of like why you enjoy like being alive. Yeah. And that's so important. So I will never I rewatch the shit out of stuff because whether it's the fourth time or the 40th time rewatching something, you just don't know. And that excites me just as much as watching something new. Personally, I think a lot of people feel differently. They just want to consume as much shit as like, I've never seen this, I want to have an opinion on it, so I'm going to watch it and like tweet about it, and then it's over, and like then their journey with that thing is over, and they're just like, whatever, I'll move on to the next new thing. Whereas I think you and I are connected in the way that the conversation is between like ourselves. It's how can I get to know Roger Rabbit better and better and better, and how much do I like it at age 15 to 25? Well, I like it just as much.
This is going to sound corny, but this is really the way I view this stuff. It's like a relationship, and relationships take work. You have to work on it constantly. You have to realize, what's going to change here when I watch this for like the 1500th time. I've changed as a person lately.
Yep.
Am I going to approach this differently this time? And oftentimes I find I do. And there's something new for the conversation, something new that I can have about this movie that I've watched since I was a kid. And that's amazing. But then also, going in blind on something, a friend recommended or something you just, randomly selected, there's a thrill in that is unmatched. And it's all part of the dance. It's a delight.
Yes, it is. How did we get here?
I don't remember. Blockbuster, I think, yeah.
Renting. Oh, Rounders, late bloomer video. We talked about on Scarface.
Yeah.
Picking new movies. It's like, fuck you. You're not doing what I want. So I'm gonna watch movies that I've seen 100 times. Yeah. I still do that. I still rewatch movies that I'm totally obsessed with, and I either become more obsessed with them or I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't like this as much as I did when I was 15. Yeah. And that's okay. You can still love it. You might not love it as much as you did. You need to allow, like you said, allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to grow in the relationship with the movie. It's pretty cool. It's fun. I love it. I enjoy the shit out of it. And Rounders is one of those that has held my hand and has not let go, and I ain't letting go either. I don't see how I'm never gonna how I'm never gonna like be obsessed with this movie. I don't see how that's possible because it feels mature enough for when I'm like 50. I'm like, yeah, I fucking love Rounders. I can just tell there might be some out there that I feel differently about that I rewatch over and over. But I feel like Rounders is one. It's here to stay. Uh, so we did a little music talk. I feel like the more organic thing to do because we haven't really gone into our favorite parts of the movie. Um, Shit, what do you want to do first? Quote? You want to talk about some quotes or get some scenes out on the table?
I gotta say, after like 2 years of Oscar Sunday, it does feel natural to do scene last.
Yeah, it does. It kind of depends. Yeah, I do think scene is best last usually. I do think like the new way we do this, I feel like there's a freedom in depending on the movie, especially if the cast is a little bit smaller. You want to get the performance thing out of the way so you can just all right, we know that. We know you love Norton. I mean, we love everybody, but you really love Norton. And I really love Damon in this movie. We know that it makes it easier to talk about the rest of the movie, if that makes sense. Whereas some other ones, it might be best if that's later. So yeah, let's let some quotes fly. Let's go.
I I think this movie has one of the best opening quotes in movie history.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mike McDermott, listen, here's the thing. If you can't spot the sucker in your first half hour at the table, then you are the sucker.
And then the screen goes to black and you just see Rounders. All lowercase. Yeah.
It's perfect. I love that. It's such a great life lesson too. Like if you can't figure out who's getting played here, you're the one getting played. Like that's a fantastic way to, just be aware of things.
Yeah. Yeah. The narration in this movie, sometimes I hate narration, but God, it fucking works in this movie. I love when he does the like when he like quotes something. Like he takes a quote from a book or something, and this is a quote from a gambling maxim. He says, "You can shear sheep many times, but you can skim him only once." Fucking great.
The narration feels to me almost like it's lifted from a film noir. Like,
yeah. Oh, dude, this movie has some noir.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's playing. Yeah, Damon plays this like he's fucking Bogey in the Maltese Falcon. It's awesome. It was a great choice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So a lot of the reviews that came out right when the movie came out from like the big people, from different huge, blogs and whatnot, were pretty negative about the movie. One of the guys who loved this movie right out the gate was Ebert. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars and talked a lot about the noir feel to it, and that Damon does feel like he's conjuring up some of the old like time greats. So you and Roger are on the same page.
That's fine. I never read that review. I did not know that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Roger was one of the only people who went to bat for this movie like right when it came out in 1998. He was one of the only like big time critics that was like, "Hey, this is pretty good. 3 out of 4 stars for Ebert is good."
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Ebert. I think he was a bit harsh on some good stuff and also way too lenient on a lot of shit. But there was a lot of middle ground sweet spot reviews that he was pretty spot on with.
I love him because of his contribution, his willingness to just share his thoughts, because that's obviously what we like to do, and how important he made everything feel.
Yeah, there was that. Every movie got the same treatment.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there would be reviews for movies where he'd be like 1.5 star, but he would just fucking go into it, and you'd be like, "Is this a negative review?" Or like, it's like he still had a good time at the theater. I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that glass half full attitude about, look, I'm talking about watching movies, but also this thing's not very good. Yep. I love that. I fucking love that.
He's the reason I wanted to do this. Like, I wanted this whole damn show to basically be, Siskel and Ebert at the movies.
yeah, because they're the trendsetters, man, as far as talking about movies, taking it seriously while also having fun.
They invented 2 thumbs up. Like that was them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Another great quote. Teddy KGB. He beats me straight up. Pay him. Pay that man his money. And everybody's like, should we kill him? And he's like, no, no, no. Like, such a great bit. That scene is, I mean, that whole game is so fucking sick.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of pop culture t-shirts. So my, targeted ads and whatnot on Facebook are always, a lot of t-shirts. And there's this one t-shirt that keeps popping up in the suggestions, and it's Teddy KGB with the line, pay that man his money, but every other letter is a Y. So it's like, pay that man his money. It's a fucking Russian accent.
Like it's a fucking Twin Peaks. Yeah. That's great. In my club, I will splash the pot whenever the fuck I please. Oh, he's on 10, 11. I mean, just like he's off the fucking charts in that whole last scene. He's unbelievable.
It's hysterical. Like, I can't tell if he's like fucking with him or like genuinely into it. And then, the Oreos, and then he's, oh, okay, so he's taking this seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He's very, very serious. I love when a movie, a sports movie or whatever, in this case for poker, it makes you realize that the movie and the characters care about the content, about the game, about poker. And I love when Mike McD says to Joe, his girlfriend, why do you think the same 5 guys make it to the final table of the World Series of Poker every year? What? Are they the luckiest guys in Vegas? No, it's a skill game, Joe. Fuck yeah. It's so cool. Because again, it goes all the way back to if you're okay, you know how to read stuff, you know how to what everything adds up to. You know that this hand's better than that hand. When you have a really good hand. But when you're really good at the game, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what you have or he has. It's about playing the table, making the smartest decision.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wish I had that power. Like,
oh, dude, yeah. I mean, you got to play. You got to play a lot to read people and read different kinds of people and
gotta live it.
Yeah, yeah. And Mike McD lives it, baby.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite exchanges is between him and Petrovsky when Petrovsky's telling him about how he ended up not becoming a rabbi, and he tells him that, like, it was a hard decision, but it was the right one, and it ended up, ruining his relationship with his family. And Mike says, if you had to do it all over again, knowing what would happen, would you make the same choice? And Petrovsky goes, what choice?
What choice? Ah,
dude.
Yes.
And then he follows it with, the last thing I took away from the yeshiva was this: we can't run from who we are. Our destiny chooses us.
Oh,
that is some profound shit that I really, really needed to hear right now. I recently made a life decision that turned out to be a huge mistake, and it's kind of thrown me for a loop and made me question my future quite a bit. So that exchange was good to hear. Made me think, like, what I'm supposed to do, clearly I haven't found it yet. And when I find it, I'll know. It won't be a choice.
Oh, God. That's great, man. Movies, they find you when you can go looking, right? You can go looking for something, but you never know. And you probably didn't know when you were like, oh, I'm going to turn on Rounders. You're like, oh, shit.
You never, yeah. I always seem to find that shit exactly when I need it.
Yeah, it's like the movies. It's like the movies are rewarding you for watching them over and over.
It does like that.
Hey, here's you watched 10 movies in the past week. I'm going to give you a hand. I'm going to help you out. I feel that way a lot. I feel that way a ton and you're like, oh yeah, this is why I do it over and over and over every fucking day.
But you fill up, you fill up the punch card, and now you get a lesson.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Fill the punch card. Yeah, here's a free fucking scoop of ice cream. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
I love Mike McD. It's another one of my favorite scenes is when he goes to the judges and lawyers when they're all playing each other. They all suck. And he's like, oh, there's no real players here. But then he calls out exactly what's going on. And they're like, bullshit, you don't know what's going on. He's, yeah, I do. He's like, You were looking for that third three, but you forgot that Professor Greenfield on 4th Street, and now you're representing that you have it. The DA made his 2 pair, but he knows they're no good. Judge Kaplan was trying to squeeze out a diamond flush, but he came up just short, and Mr. Eisen is futilely hoping that his queens are going to stand up. So, like I said, the dean's bet is $20. Fuck yeah. He just reads the entire table, and they're all like, God damn it, this kid's smart, and I love that scene because it's Damon being Damon in that scene, really. It's not really about Mike McD. It's about Damon just like, I can talk fast.
Yeah, it reminded me very much of Good Will Hunting, that bit.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's always been so good. That's why, like, some of his scenes in Bourne, you're like, this guy's, I forgot he's not just like an action star here. He's like a damn good actor.
I gotta watch those again. It's been so long since I watched the Bourne movie.
Yeah, I love them. I really do. Especially, I don't know. Identity and Supremacy. Those two have always been my favorite. But I do like Ultimatum. I just think he's so easy to watch, so easy to root for. So I love him.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, I know he's not, I know he's a fucking millionaire, but I don't know. Like, I trust. Like, if I had kids, I'd trust him to babysit them. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Matt Damon, I can count on him.
Yeah. Edward Norton, probably not.
Yeah. No, I don't want Norton anywhere near my imaginary kids.
Oh, here's a good one from Turturro. The Christy Turlington quote. Kanish says, "I'm listening. What do you need? 500? A grand? No, I need $15,000. 15? Yep. Well, I need a blowjob from Christy Turlington. Get the fuck out of here. $15,000."
Yeah, I love his whole exchange where he's like, I got to say no to you. Like, I'm here to pay my rent, to feed my kids. Like, I can't give you $15,000.
Yeah.
Like, if you need me to call to buy you some time, I can do that, but I got to say no to you. Like,
so good.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like my uncle Les used to say, when the money is gone, it's time to move on. So enjoy, you secret handshaking assholes. That's Worm. Worm just has some great stuff. I mean, yeah, you can go through the whole movie. There's just fun quotes everywhere.
That ace could not have helped you. You're right, Teddy. The ace didn't help. I flopped the nut straight.
Yes.
You so trapped me.
Yeah. Every night, check. You have alligator blood. Can't get rid of him.
It's like he's out of a fucking cartoon. He doesn't feel like a real person.
He's not.
He's like the final boss of Street Fighter or some shit. Like, it's just, yeah, okay, Teddy KGB. Like, there's no way. Like, this guy watched a Russian gangster movie and based his entire persona around that.
Yep, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's so good. He's great. He's great in the first scene too. Right at the very beginning, you're just like, oh man, this guy seems quite powerful, but also I love how Teddy is about the game as well. He's not just like, oh, I lost, so therefore like we're just gonna like shoot you and like, it's too bad. He's like, pay him. Like he fucking just beat me. I love when he beats him, what does he win? $5,000 or whatever, something, at first, and then he's like, yeah, run away, like from last time I fucked you. He starts fucking like humping. He starts humping.
But he reminds him that like I'm beating you with your own money.
Yeah, so good. Brings him back in. Oh man, up the blind. You're like, yeah, so good. I love those two scenes. Are obviously, we're bleeding into a scene here, but those are clearly two of the best scenes of the movie. Is when Malkovich is just on one.
Yeah, he's another heat check guy who did, I think, probably his best work in the 90s. Obviously, being John Malkovich is hilarious and insane. But like, you ever see In the Line of Fire?
Yeah, good call.
He's terrifying in that. He's so fucking ahead of everybody. He's a genius. It's a good plan. Like, damn, Malkovich.
Yeah, he's incredible. You know what I one of my favorite things he's ever done is at the beginning of Burn After Reading.
Oh.
He's fucking hilarious.
Osborne Cox.
Yeah.
This is a crucifixion. He has one of my all-time favorite Coen Brothers lines in that movie, and it's when he gets accused of having a drinking problem. He's like,
Yeah.
"What? You're a Mormon. Compared to you, we all have a drinking problem."
Oh,
Yeah, beautiful. That's one of his like top 10 best, man.
yeah, yeah. I'm just obsessed with that performance. Doesn't need a lot. Again, he's a heat check kind of guy. I mean, yeah, he's great. He's great. He's great in everything he fucking pops up in. Even in a movie I didn't love. What was it? We watched for Places in the Heart.
Oh
We
yeah.
watched that for Oscar Sunday. Even then, I like didn't love the movie, but I was like, he was awesome. He always brings it. Him and Turturro, man. They don't let you down.
You know, when Sam Raimi was prepping Spider-Man 4 back in like 2009, Malkovich was going to play the Vulture.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I wonder what that would have been like.
I think that's really cool. Damn, I feel like he would have crushed that. Yeah, he's getting old, man. He's almost 70 years old. Like it's really wild
He was
thinking
doing
about
a
these.
one-man show at the Majestic not too long ago. I should have gone to that.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. How could we forget Con Air? Or you brought up Con? Yeah, no,
No, I didn't. Yeah,
no.
I was going to.
Yeah, I figured. I couldn't remember if you had just mentioned it or not. But yeah, I mean, come on. Everyone in Con Air is fucking awesome.
Cyrus the Virus. What a
Yeah.
sadistic bastard. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. And a lot of the lines are from these two scenes in Rounders. A lot of the great lines are from him.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent bit. Obviously, in a poker movie, the big climactic game is going to be like, the centerpiece. It's going to be the scene.
Yeah. I was wondering. So aside from obviously we love that scene. Aside from that, what other like set pieces or games in the movie or do you find the best?
Binghamton.
Yeah, dude, so good. I love that whole run is unbelievable.
Yeah, they've got a good chunk of change. They're on their way to being able to pay back grandma, and they go to this game out, off the beaten path, 5 hours away, loaded with cops and like teamsters and shit. And they try to pull a fast one, and some guy sees that Worm's cheating, and it fucks up everything. It's a great scene, and they take all their cash. They fuck him up. That's it. It's over.
Yeah, because they're It's set up so well because I think Worm tells him that they're not cops, but they're what's the word he uses? He doesn't use exactly the term cops. He says these guys they all get paid and they on their paycheck day they all hang out and play games, play cards, and so they pull up or whatever, and McDermott's like, Jesus Christ, they're all cops. like, oh my God, what are we doing here? And he's like, well, we're already here, so let's fucking, let's go in. He's like, whoa, no. Like, you're gonna go hang out for 8 hours while I play straight up, and I'm gonna win this money. He's like, I guess I'll find a fucking bowling alley. And Mike McD goes in, yeah, and he's killing it, dude. He's doing his thing. He's playing. He introduces himself the right way. He's like, hey, I know your uncle, da da da. Like, let's, I want to play. I heard you all have some games. Yeah, pull up. We playing 2040 stud. Come on, like sit down. And he's doing his thing. Mike McD is like, for as far as we know as the audience, he's fucking back, baby. Like Mike McD is back. He's on his game. He's gonna fix this debt. And then Worm meets someone at the bowling alley. He's like, hey, this guy said he likes to play cards. And Mike McD immediately he can't show it, but he has that look of like, fuck me.
It's a great bit of performance in Damon's eyes where he's just like screaming with his eyes. Like, I told him to wait in the fucking bowling alley. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a brilliant, brilliant scene. And the way they find out, he's like, that's, he's like, you got a hanger, that one guy's just watching him. And I think it must be like the chief or something comes up. He's like, you boys professionals, like, what's going on here? He's like, well, let's let the cards do the talking. And sure enough, he has 3 sevens. You're like, oh, Jesus.
I love it.
Think of
Mike tries to be like, hey, I was winning before this guy showed up. Like, he tries to distance himself, but they're not buying it.
Yeah, no way. It's too good to be true. Yeah, and then that's real. I mean, that's it. Then Mike McD has to take over his own destiny here because he vouched for Worm, and Worm's like, it's highway time, baby. He like holds up the keys, like, I am out of here. I'm not like I'm running away. I'm leaving New York. And Mike McD's like, I can't do that. I can't. And that's the biggest turning point of the movie is when he goes back to grandma and is like, I vouched for the wrong guy. I hopefully you'll believe in me and I can get this done. And grandma's like, Jesus, why'd you stand up for that idiot? And, it's true. I definitely wouldn't vouch for Worm. He's a fucking snake.
Well, I like how the movie never like backtracks that decision. Like Worm never shows up in the nick of time and be like, I'm here to back you up, or like, I'm going to get you out of this. He fucks off, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally the last time we see him. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike is trapped in a huge debt because he vouched for this selfish prick who abandoned him at the first sign of trouble.
Yeah. And it's great.
Yeah. It's honest.
Yeah. Like
and in the end, Mike does end up exactly where he was at the beginning of the movie with 3 stacks of high society.
High society. Yeah. So cool. I love how the math works out. He wins 60,000, but he owes this amount to this guy, and he owes the 10 grand to Martin Landau, and he owes 6 to the other club that Worm owes to. So what I'm left with is, when you really do the math, it's $29,000 and basically 30 grand. That's 3 stacks, baby. And what does he do? He goes to Vegas. It's so cool. It's awesome. It's such a great ending to a nice, honest movie. And I love when he gives the envelope of money to Joe, his ex-girlfriend now, and she's like, she could be like, fuck you, you're an animal. You don't know how to fucking change your life around. And she's just like, well, if you need a lawyer, call me. And he's like, I will. It's like, all right, this relationship is stupid, but whatever.
I don't care who it was. If I owed somebody $10,000, I'm not resting until I put it in their hand personally.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm not trusting her. Are you kidding me? No way.
No.
No way. 10 grand. Yeah.
No. But, yeah, he doesn't learn anything. He's never jaded by this whole experience or broken or anything. It's like, we win some, you lose some, and now I'm back up. Now I'm ahead.
Yeah, and the reality is, these people exist. These people are everywhere. I just ran into a guy. I was working. This guy comes up and he's wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins, a hockey T-shirt. So I just kind of asked him about that. I'm like, hockey season's 3 weeks in or so. I'm like, oh, how are you feeling? You've been watching a lot. And he's like, oh yeah, I love hockey. I'm from up there. I moved here a few years back. We're just bullshitting or whatever. And he's like, hey, do you like to gamble at all? Yeah, but I try not to. Do that whole bit. And he's like, well, do you ever play cards? And I was like, no, not really. Not really. I should stay away. And he's like, well, I'm just saying, man. Have you ever been to the SA? I think it's Card House, SA Card House, which is on 281 and Redland Road.
I know where that is
in San Antonio. I've never been because I know if I walk in, I'm never gonna leave. And he's like, oh, if you ever go there, man, I'm there all the time. I go there a ton. He's gonna go to other game houses around Texas. And I was like, oh, for a living? He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh, so you gamble for a living? He's like, yeah. He's like, I play. He's like, I play poker. And I was like, Jesus, these people exist everywhere. And
you met a rounder.
Yeah, in San Antonio, Texas, this guy goes around. He said mainly to Dallas. He's like, and I'll play it. I'll go to game houses and just play. And that's what I do. He's like, some nights, I was like, well, how much money do you make? He's like, not a ton, but he's like, I get by, man. I pay my rent, pay my bills. And he's like John Turturro, dude. He's Knish. I met Knish. Knish, and he's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's fun. When was this? Was this recently? While we were prepping Rounders?
This is a week ago. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, wow. I want to talk to him more, but some other fucking, where I work, there's that little gap right there where I always talk to you. Yeah. He was right there. We were talking right there. And some other fucking idiot kept excuse me. And I was like, God damn it, I want to keep talking to this guy. But I had to help someone else. And he was like, all right, man, I'll see you around. He's like, I come to HEB a lot. So I was like, cool, I'd love to hear more, Fucking San Antonio Knish.
That's fucking insane. The odds that would happen while we're prepping this movie.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Insane. I started looking things up. I was like, man, yeah, Jesus, there's people who that's what they do.
Did you accidentally run into a hyper aggressive Cuban immigrant when we were prepping Scarface and just forgot to tell me about it?
No, I didn't. That'd be awesome though.
That's nuts, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
was
cool.
really cool. Yeah, and I was texting someone else about it, and this is insane. This is gonna be hard for some listeners to believe. So Adam, who's been on the show plenty of times now, he used to coach at a school in St. Louis, and I lived there in St. Louis with him for a year. And there was one kid, um, cannot remember his name. He didn't play basketball. He played football. But so Adam didn't coach him directly, but he was always around the school, and I would always go to my brother's games. And like this kid, he just had this like kind of like almost arrogant confidence about him, arrogance about him. I was kind of like, who is this kid? Is this kid in fucking high school? And come to find out, this is insane. We're talking to some other people that we met from St. Louis, and I said, hey, whatever happened to that one guy? I do know his name. I'm not going to say it on here, just out of for him. I don't really know him. I know of him, but he lives in San Antonio and also plays poker for a living. This guy who went to a high school 7, 8 years ago that Adam coached at now lives here and plays games for a living. I'm like, what the fuck? I found this out a few months, like 2 or 3 months ago, from these guys that I talked to a lot from St. Louis, and I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, that guy, and they're like, oh yeah, he's like all about it. Like he like makes a ton of money, plays poker like all over Texas. I'm like, what the fuck? So here in the past 2 or 3 months, I've met met one rounder and found out this other guy that I know of from St. Louis, Missouri, is also a rounder in Texas. What the fuck?
You've got all the makings of a very interesting poker game. Like you could make something really neat happen here if you really wanted to.
Dude, I mean, what in the world? I I I want to like talk to these people more. It's so fascinating to me that people do this for a living.
Yeah, I wish I was that confident in my abilities to like where that's literally like where my rent money comes from is fucking poker. I mean, god damn, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And kind of sad, but amazing too.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's a fascinating world, a dark world, a sad world, but also fuck it, man. If that's how you make your bread, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I admire that. I admire that kind of skill. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's what I really want to know, because I don't know much about it. I'm sure I could look stuff up online, but I really want to hear like from an individual who's in it. And so if that guy comes back, the Penguins guy, if he comes back to where I work, I want to talk to him about what exactly, because I know Texas has certain laws about gambling and playing games. I want to know what can you win, what can you just play anything? Like what are the rules? So I would like to know like how do you get around this? Because yeah, these places, man, they're popping up. I mean, there's one that area 281 in Redland. It's like next to a like restaurants, like a ramen place. Is like this game house. It's really really weird.
Well, I bet there's like, there's the games and then there's the game in the back.
Of course, right? Yeah, always. You can always find games, but this guy was talking about it like, yeah, I mean, it's totally legit. Like, this is what I do. Like, I go to public places, have a drink, play some games, win some money, and go home. Awesome.
Yeah, I wonder how that goes. Like, how do you bypass the gambling laws with that?
Yeah, of course, now that we're, I should have looked into it before we recorded, but when we stop, I'm definitely going to be reading about poker in Texas.
Well, then, we'll do like, I don't know, California Suite or something, and then we can talk about it again.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen that movie?
California Split, my mistake.
Yeah, I knew what you're saying. Yeah, Robert Altman. Yeah.
I have not yet seen. I saw Mississippi Grind. Really like that.
I like Mississippi Grind. I think it's underrated. Yeah.
I have not explored Altman properly. He's a director I still have to tap into.
Okay, I see. I'm a huge fan, but I think California Split captures the like super super high and then like the exhaustion of like, woof, what did I just do? Yeah. Or even when you win, you're like, what was that all for? There's like this, once the thrill is over, obviously if you win some money, great, but you're just like, man, I just like gave myself a heart attack. It's fast. I think California Split captures that like brilliantly, that addiction, and then the kind of like looking in the mirror, what in the world? There's so many great poker movies. There's plenty I haven't seen yet, but um, are there any other moments and rounders that you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Um, I like after the Binghamton game when Mike and Worm finally have it out.
Yeah, it's great.
Just Mike is like just lays into him for just being a selfish prick who doesn't care about anything but himself. And Worm's like, so fuck it, like you know what, you're so noble, and they have like a legit argument where they both make some pretty good points, and Worm just takes off.
Yeah.
Mike's got they beat the shit out of both of them, and Mike's looks all bruised and shit. And he goes to talk to Joe, and it's like, yeah, you're not helping your case here with the face like that. Like I love that. Like
Yeah,
it's all legit as you got the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, I love that. 'Cause, yeah, Grandma. We haven't really talked about Grandma. What a crazy character. Oh, Jesus, what happened to you? He's such a slimy New York bastard. You know, they're everywhere.
Yeah, and it's pretty fucked up that Worm doesn't tell Mike the whole situation. He doesn't tell him the whole amount. He doesn't tell him who he's really in the hole with. Like, just God. No, people take friendship for granted so much in these in so many movies. Like shit. If I was in that situation, like if I owed like 25 grand to a vicious gangster and you were the only one who could help me out, you're goddamn right. You're getting all the information.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't get like the benefit of that. Like, why would you hold all that shit back?
Yeah, that's the thing is here's the one guy who's like willing to back you, and you're not telling him what's really going on. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Mike McD is like, here's $800 to get you going. He's like, yeah, come on, I need to make some scratch. Come on.
Yeah, you're holding that on me. Come on.
Yeah, let's go. It's just a fucking God, fucking Worm.
It's like a walking paper shredder, but only for cash.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. I love that. Oh man, yeah. I mean, you could go scene by scene through this whole movie. It's kind of, I guess that's kind of what we did. Yeah, I adore it. And this movie, it's very important to me. So it's really cool to be able to tackle it properly. We've wanted to do it for a long time. Really go after it and have some fun with it. So this has been great. 25 years is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's weird that it's only 3 years younger than us. That's odd. Does it feel like it's older than us? Like, do you feel like it's the proper age gap?
I could date this movie. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Great answer. All right. Before we get out of here, I want to do our last segment. What's in the box?
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
All right. First review here is the artist soon to be known as blank. Okay. This is a you can't make this shit up. Letterboxd. 2.5 star review. I think they used this version of Matt Damon to make the Team America puppet. There were times in this movie where I could have sworn he was made entirely of plastic.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
God, I haven't seen that in years.
Me either. That's why I threw it out there. Let's see. This is next one is Nora. Yeah, Nora. 2-star review. Yeah, still don't understand poker at all. Also, it included John Malkovich hip thrusting, i.e., something I never want to see again. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm okay with it. I think it's hilarious.
That's funny. I do love the I still don't fucking understand poker. that's valid.
Oh, it does not fucking spell it out. It does not tell you like, oh yeah, by the way, this is what this means. You just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can tell obviously by their reactions, like who won and who didn't, but you're still like, wait, what did he have? What was in his hand? Yeah.
It doesn't even tell you what a rounder is. You just kind of have to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, basically, which is also great. I love that. I love when Norton says, "Hey, at least you're rounding again." It's great. I love when the title of the movie is cleverly put into the film. Last one. This is positive. Ben Gumble, 5-star review. This is cool because we kind of talked about some of the stuff earlier. It feels like I just went and grabbed a drink with an old friend who I hadn't seen for a very long time. As we talked, I began to realize how much I missed the sound of their voice. And I remember why our friendship is so important to me. We've been friends for what seems like forever, but it was not until now that I just realized just now realized how I truly understand them and how much I love them. The last time I watched Rounders was nearly 3 years ago. I sat there reciting the script word for word and kind of hated myself for doing it. I felt like I almost knew the film too well to truly enjoy it anymore. It was then that I vowed to take a significant break from watching the movie I had spent a large portion of my life calling my favorite film of all time. I watched it tonight for the first time in 3 years, and guess what? I sat there reciting the script word for word, having the time of my fucking life. Rewatch your favorite movies and don't fool yourself into thinking you shouldn't.
That's fucking kismet, man. God damn. Wow.
Yeah. Love that review. Ben Gumble, shout out to you. That's my favorite review of Rounders on the entire website of Letterboxd. I totally agree. I totally understand what he's saying.
I like unscripted, unsolicited, just started talking about that exact shit. Wow, this is a weird episode for coincidences.
Yeah. Good shit, man. I love reviews like that are just like, hey, remember to like enjoy your life. Like have some fun. God damn it, you deserve it. That's a good one. There's some funny positive reviews that are just kind of like, check, or like they're just quoting the movie or whatever. And I love all that stuff. But I read through a ton of them, the like 5-star reviews, and I was like, this one's speaking to me. So I wanted to use it. I love the negative reviews, but occasionally you'll see one that just kind of speaks to your heart.
Sometimes you got to accentuate the positive, as the man said.
Yes, totally agree. Oh, this has been a blast. Thank you all for listening. If you like what we do, feel free to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. Search Connor95 on there. You can follow pretty much everybody on the team and his followers or following on his profile. Check out filmgazm.com for trailers, articles, all kinds of stuff, reviews. If you'd like to become a monthly donor to Filmgazm Productions, feel free to click on the link in the episode description. From there, click on support this podcast. Any amount of donations will go right back into the show because that's all we care about. Thanks to the entire Filmgazm team for their contributions. Special shout out to Cooley Cow for the awesome theme music. And most of all, thank you all for listening. Keep rounding, keep watching movies, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you.